Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is the Blue Line Blast podcast. I'm your host, Jim Biringer, alongside Matthew Blittner. We're off for a week, special occasion. There's going to be some other occasions coming up as well. But we're back better than ever. Talk about the Stanley Cup Playoffs, like draft lottery, some rumors. Matthew, what's up, buddy?
Not much, Jim. And I mean, you said special occasion. Just come out with it. Be honest. It was your birthday. Happy birthday. You took off for it. And everyone wished Jim a happy birthday.
Hey, happy birthday to me. Okay, now that the pomp and circumstances are out of here, let's discuss this. The Stanley Cup playoffs are rolling on. Obviously, we got Colorado, Minnesota rocking and rolling. 2-1 Avs in that series. Minnesota bounces back game 3, dominates at home, gets to Scott Wedgwood. Now Colorado goes to a goalie change. This is my stance on this. This is my blast from the blue line tonight. Maybe it could be more coming. I don't know. But I feel that if you start with one guy in a series, barring injury and barring very, very poor play, you let the goaltender come back and bounce back. Colorado decides to go with Mackenzie Blackwood after Scott Wedgwood got lit up. I disagree with that decision. I also disagreed when Minnesota decided to go to Philip Gustafson because I wanted to see how Volstead bounced back. He looked great in game 3, but I like to stick with one guy in the playoffs.
So, Jim, I agree with you to a point. You should stick with the guy. However, as we've seen over the last, let's call it 10 years roughly, teams are more apt to, throughout the regular season, split their goalies, where instead of having a true workhorse that does, 60, 65 games, whatnot, they'd be more like a 50 to, 45, 50 games versus 35, 40 game type of thing. So teams do that. And sometimes teams like to do straight up, hey, listen, we're going to alternate. You play one game, you play the net, so forth. Some teams like to ride the hot hand. Every team has their own different ways that they handle it. And while I agree with you that teams should stick with one guy in the playoffs because the playoffs are different than the regular season, you can't knock teams for doing what got them to where they are. Colorado got to where they are, and yes, I know injuries played a part in it. But Colorado got to where they are because they were able to shuffle back and forth between two goaltenders depending on who was hot and healthy. Minnesota, not quite the same deal, but similar enough. So, and look at recent playoff things. How many times did the Islanders switch back and forth when Robin Lehner was their goaltender? How many times did Vegas with Aiden Hill, Logan Thompson, you name it, whoever's been in net for them? There's been teams who have done it successfully. Again, I agree with you that they should stick with one, but there's plenty of recent history that shows that, them going to the other goalie, not that big a deal.
To a point, because in the Buffalo series in the first round, Ukko-Pekka was just so bad that they had to go to Alex Lyon. Buffalo was able to figure out a 6-minute stretch in game 1, but Pekka just didn't look like he could handle the spotlight up there. That's why I agree. Lindy Ruff just protected his goaltender in game 3 after he got shelled. And I'm good, because now you just stick with one guy. Everybody's wondering Montreal, Jacob Fowler in game 2. I'm no, it's Dovesh. They just had an emotional letdown. They played good in the third period. It's fine. I get it. Wedgwood played more games in Colorado. Blackwood, we saw what he can do. I just sometimes, I always like to see if the guy can bounce back. Maybe he's played too much. Let's see if Colorado as a team can bounce back, because Minnesota, Kirill Kaprizov was on fire. Quinn Hughes was on fire. Sorry, Devils fans. That's the way it is. Sorry, he's just on fire right now. Boldy, all those guys are coming alive at the right time. For Minnesota, Colorado obviously got their dogs. And what about Nate McKinnon doing laps in a hotel pool with the flippers, goggles? Is this guy training is it Dano Chara these days?
I mean, hey, it's Nathan McKinnon, and what worked for the guy is one of the top, would you say, top 2, top 3 players in the National Hockey League? Easily. Whatever works for the guy, Look, the great ones always have things that they do different than everybody else. Sometimes it's their preparation, sometimes it's their mental train, sometimes it's their physical train. Whatever it is, the great ones always have something that's different than everybody else. And this is Nathan McKinnon being Nathan McKinnon.
It's very true. This is very true. But I am worried about Colorado. I think would you agree, like, the weakest part of their game coming into playoffs for the Avalanche, despite the sweep of LA, was their goaltending?
Well, yeah, but you could say the same thing in 2022 when they won the cup in spite of Darcy Kemper as their goaltender.
That's
So
very true. They protected him very well.
they've done it before. They're doing it now. Do I think they're going to win the cup? I'll be honest. Here's my blast from the blue line. I do not think Colorado wins the cup. In fact, I do not think Colorado gets to the cup final.
Ooh.
I think they get past Minnesota. I think they don't. I think they bow out in the Western Conference Final to the Vegas Golden Knights. And my reasoning for it is this. And people are gonna, you can rake me over the coals all you want. In the history of the National Hockey League over the last 47 years, during which the President's Trophy has been awarded, I think it's only 8 or 9 teams out of that 47 teams that's won the President's Trophy has gone on to win the Stanley Cup that same year. Yep. It's been 13 years, I believe.
If you want to go full season, it's been even longer than that.
But forget full season versus regular season for me. Just 13.
Yeah, it's been 13 years. 2013 and Blackhawks.
Colorado's. I'm sorry, Colorado fans. The history is against you right here. That you're an excellent team. You are. I'm sorry, you won the President's Trophy. You're not going to win.
So you're saying
maybe you should have let up on the gas pedal a couple games down the stretch. Let Carolina overtake you for the President's Trophy, and you would have had a free and clear way all the way to Stanley Cup final.
So what you're saying?
Sorry.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't be booking hotel reservations in Colorado for the Cup final.
No.
Okay.
So
we're not booking
Colorado. Nothing.
So we're not booking a Carolina-Colorado Stanley Cup final.
Not only are we not booking the Carolina-Colorado Stanley Cup final, I wouldn't be booking anything in Carolina either.
Ooh, I like it. Yo, it's bringing the heat, baby. Let's go. I like it.
Wins Buffalo, Montreal, and I still think it's going to be Buffalo, but Montreal, what a game did they play in Game 3.
I'm going to be different on this one just because.
Whoever wins Buffalo, Montreal is going to beat Carolina. Because here's the thing. One, Carolina can be beaten, as much as I know.
Yes, I agree with that. 100%.
Beaten yet in the playoffs this year. Carolina can be beaten. They will have, what's it going to be, 8 days?
9, potentially. 9,
by the time Game 1 is played.
Yeah.
They're going to lose a little bit of their edge. So they're probably going to lose Game 1. Now, losing Game 1, not
big a deal.
Not, going down 1-0 in a series, not that big.
Nothing crazy.
But, they'll probably stumble a little bit in Game 2 in the beginning while they still find their feet. They probably come back, they win Game 2. Okay? Then they're going to go on the road to whoever they're playing, be it Buffalo or Montreal.
Tough.
And I'm telling you right now, whichever one it is, Buffalo, Montreal, and I think Buffalo's going to be the one. But again, Montreal, I'm starting to have little doubts after what Montreal did last night. And I think they take out Carolina. It's going to be a 6-7 game series. I'm not saying that Carolina is now going to get swept. It's going to be a 6-7 game series in the Eastern Final. But it's going to be Buffalo and Montreal, who then goes up against the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup Final.
All right. I like it because, look, Carolina, what they've done is historic. I feel like they're getting a little disrespect across the league right now. Freddie Anderson, 8-0. Team stat, 8-0. But I think he's got like 950 save percentage. The team's letting up 2 goals a game or less. He's playing unbelievable right now. I think it's like 1.02 goals against average that he's got right now, maybe a little higher than that. But he's got a couple of shutouts. He's playing unbelievable. The team in front of him is playing great. I know a lot of people, I got the stat, people were throwing, oh, look at the stats, look at the shots. I'm like, so you're giving me the same argument I heard all my life about the Devils and Brodeur when they won. This isn't nothing new. But look, I think Carolina, what they've done is historic. First time since 85. Team started off 8-0. First time since the format in 87 that team's done this. Oilers in 85 started off 9-0, so it's crazy. They're not even getting production from their top line. We talk about the top line of Montreal not producing 5-on-5. Sebastian Aho, Jarvis, and Svechnikov are they've got 2 goals. And they haven't done much. the best line's been Taylor Hall, Jackson Blake, and Logan Stankoven for Carolina.
Really? You're not going to say sorry to Devils fans over Taylor Hall?
It's all right. Everybody knows he won an MVP and he made the playoffs at least with the Devils. Everybody wanted Quinn Hughes, and you know it. So
that is true.
So I think there's a little difference. And Taylor Hall's been out of New Jersey for a little bit now. But they've been playing well. Freddie Anderson's been on Conn Smythe Trophy pace. But I will agree with you on this. Their conference final history, we want to talk about history, right? You talk about President's Trophy history. Their conference final history since 2009 is not good. I think they have 1 win in 13 games. That's not good at all.
Way to steal my stat from me, Jim.
Sorry about that. Yo, I swear I'm not looking at anything.
Yeah. So, look, again, Carolina's an excellent team. Colorado's an excellent team. I wouldn't be booking any hotels in either place for beyond the conference finals. They're obviously both in the top. They're going to be in the conference. Well, Carolina is already booked there.
We already know they're there.
Colorado has not yet booked it, but I feel confident that they're going to get there. I don't think Minnesota knocks them out. It's not going to be a repeat of 2014 when Minnesota knocked out Colorado in the first round in Game 7 after Nino Niederreiter tied it late and then won it in overtime. It's not going to be that.
Right.
But
I mean, they're going to give them a fight.
See them getting there.
Right. And then you mentioned Vegas before. They're in a fight a little bit here with Anaheim. Tomas Hertl finally gets off the schneid for him. Mitch Marner, man, guys leading the playoffs. A lot of talk now, bringing it back to Toronto. So maybe John Tortorella coming out there defending his player a little bit, talking about he doesn't hear the noise and narratives, a bunch of BS. To a point it is, but a lot of people watch the bad plays, the mistakes. It's kind of scapegoated a little bit in Toronto. You look at the years they went to the conference final, he's about a point per game player. He's averaged about a point per game when he in the playoffs when he was with Toronto. That team just was missing something. It was a mental hurdle. The way they were playing, he was always looking for Matthews. I feel like Marner's just played a little bit more relaxed right now.
Whatever the reason is, and I'm sure Marner probably won't actually come out and tell people what that reason is until after he's long since retired. But, and I mean, we know for a fact that, being the hometown guy in Toronto wore on him a bit. He's gone on record saying, how the ire of the fan base did weigh on him at points. So not to discount any of that. He's playing free and easy. And when a superstar of his caliber gets to play free and easy because they no longer have whatever that outside factor is, you see what happens. And you see he's excelling, and I don't know that he was always looking for Matthews so much in the playoffs. I think that there's a little truth to that, but you're a superstar in your own right. You're not necessarily just going to always give it up. I mean, it's not like he's only looking for Mark Stone. And I know Mark Stone missed Game 3, or he's only looking for Jack Eichel or whoever. So I think it's just he's playing free and easy, and you're getting to see it. And he's got a team and a fan base that's not on him because of past mistakes, and you're seeing what he can do.
Right. No, I 100% agree with that. And then obviously we touched on it. You mentioned Buffalo, Montreal. And obviously before we even get there, Anaheim showing some great fight in this series. The Young Ducks coming to play. I think they had a bad game at home. I think they took some things lightly after they kind of put a beating on Vegas in Vegas, and they thought it was going to be maybe a little bit easy. They got back to work. But Beckett, Seneca, the Young Ducks, they're flying. Carlson, all those guys. But again, the Trubas, the John Carlsons, the Killorns, the guys that Pat Verbeek brought in has got this Ducks team to this point. And Lucas Dostal hasn't played his best game yet. And they're still finding the way to be even in a very tough series against a very good Vegas Golden Knights team.
Look, every team at some point, when they're young, they have to learn how to lose before they can learn how to win. Now, it's great for Anaheim that they were able to get past Edmonton in the first round. They're going to be a better team for it down the line once they, should they, and I believe that they will lose to Vegas right now. They were able to overwhelm Edmonton because they were faster. You could argue more skilled. They were certainly healthier. And you saw what they were able to do. Vegas plays a different style game. Vegas is not the run and gun, high flying type of team that Edmonton or the Ducks is. Vegas is more of that prototypical playoff. They've got the skill, but they've got the size. They can grind you. They can play the defense. They can push the tempo when they want. Anaheim is going to learn that lesson. Obviously, it's way too soon to call the series, obviously. But I think that they will lose the series, and then they will learn, just like Tampa learned after they got embarrassingly swept by Columbus, just like Colorado learned over the years before they won in 22, just like Florida learned, just like every team has to learn. They have to learn how to lose before they can learn how to win, and Anaheim's going to be better off for it down the line.
Right, and then really quick, like Montreal kind of learned a little bit of that lesson last year when they got pushed around by Washington. They're kind of pushing back and pushing harder. This year, you saw that in the first round in the Tampa series. We saw it at the end of the regular season when Tampa kind of started that stuff after the whistle. Montreal wasn't afraid. They're not afraid against, Buffalo right now. The last two games, they've dominated from start to finish, even though Buffalo got off to a great start in the Bell Center, and there's no place like the Bell Center in the playoffs, just rocking, just the atmosphere. Kirk Muller, Captain Kirk, shout out to him, who was a former Devil, won some cups in Montreal, won a cup there. And look, the place is absolutely insane, and they feed off that energy. They embrace it. Team embraces that young team. It is a young team. They've come up together. The fans have come up together with that team, and they understand, like, this took some time to get to this point, but there's excitement because they know what the next decade could be with this team. And Buffalo's kind of like finding out, hey, you know what? Montreal is really good. We can't take them for lightly. We haven't really been in this spot before. It's been a while since we've been here. We got on, and a lot of their players have not been to this point either. And now we got a 2-1 series lead from Montreal. I still think and I felt like coming into this series, a more wide open series favored the Montreal Canadiens just because of their speed and skill. Now let's see if that power play goal gets Cole Caulfield going even more.
Yeah, absolutely well said. And Caulfield, the fact that they were doing this without him really contributing to anything, especially 5-on-5, and I don't think he's yet had anything to 5-on-5.
No, the top line outside of Suzuki has 3 even strength goals, but outside of that, the top line in itself has not had a 5-on-5 goal, which is ridiculous.
So the fact that, Montreal, as you said, they learned a little bit last year from it. They're maturing. And the fact that they were able to do what they've done so far without, Caulfield doing his usual goal scoring routine, it's impressive and it's scary. Again, I thought Buffalo was going to win this series. Not in a sweep, not hands down. I thought it would be a tight series. And I still believe in Buffalo. But Montreal is turning heads, and honestly, they're giving me a lot of pause on thinking that Buffalo's going to win this series.
Jakub Dobeš is just unbelievable, just the way he's playing it. He's embracing everything. So going to be interested to see what happens as we move forward in these series. Obviously, Carolina's resting. We'll see what they can do. Buffalo, Montreal get going again. And obviously, we got a couple series out west. Well, maybe by the time everybody wakes up and sees this, it could be either 3-1 Colorado or 2-2. There'll be a game 6 there. So a lot of interesting things happening in the Stanley Cup playoffs on the ice, but off the ice, more crazy stuff happening.
Oh boy. I knew we were getting here at some point.
We got to rip the Band-Aid off. Let's just start. The superstar players potentially moving. We got Connor McDavid, Auston Matthews, unhappy, 2 years left. Both guys looking for potential new suitors.
Same agent.
Oh, baby. It's going to be spicy a meatball this summer.
Not your best impersonation, Jim, right there.
That's all right. It's tired, long day, It's a spicy a meatball. Hey, I'm Mario. Hey. All right. A for effort.
Now, I will say this. 2 years to go. Neither Toronto nor Edmonton has to trade McDavid or or Matthews. I don't think that they will right now. I think we're at least a year away from that even being entertained, like legitimately entertained, or maybe not a full year, but at least at the trade deadline. I don't think anything, right now it's just pure speculation and talk of, writers, fans,
Fantasy booking, fantasy trades, like all that stuff. But I got to ask you a legitimate question, though, because this is in my head. Because you see all this stuff about Matthews. We'll get to McDavid in a minute because the Oilers kind of have the same issues as the Maple Leafs do. But I want to start here with the Maple Leafs, and I know it'll come back around. Look, I feel like when you hear the stuff about, oh, well, he'll wait to see what the team does. This feels like a Quinn Hughes situation in Vancouver. Quinn Hughes knew what he wanted to do long before all his buddies got signed last offseason. Like, he knew he was out the door. And no matter what the Canucks did, he was like, yo, I'm out. Like, it doesn't matter. It feels like management in Toronto needs to say, hey, you know what? Auston, look, we need a decision from you. If you're in, great. If you're out, hey, we're going to move on. And we got to start this thing over because we can't wait till July 15th because no matter what we do, if your mind is already made up, you want out, doesn't matter what we're going to do. You're still going to leave. So we got to know.
Fair points. Definitely fair points. I will say that I don't believe that Matthews has made that decision yet. I think he is still in the early going of getting to know Shaita, getting to hear from Sundin, talking with his agent, talking with his inner circle and figuring things out. I do not believe that he has he might be leaning one way or the other.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is. I do not believe he has come to a concrete decision yet on his own. I think McDavid probably is a bit further along in terms of making that concrete decision for himself. I don't believe that Matthews has done that yet because I think there's a greater chance that Matthews stays in Toronto long term than there is McDavid in Edmonton. And Oilers fans are not going to want to hear that. But I mean, hey, this is the same franchise that traded Wayne Gretzky. Like, if you can trade Wayne, and again, different reasons. Very different reasons.
100% different reasons. One was because the owner needed to.
Right. But you can trade Wayne Gretzky, like, no one else is Wayne Gretzky.
Right. And if he stayed, they're probably winning 6 championships. So, I mean.
Right. Look. So, look, McDavid, I don't think he forces his way out. Because I think to him, his legacy and his image means a lot, even if he won't necessarily come out and say it. I think that he will not, if the team came to him and said, hey, listen, Connor, we know you want out. We're getting ahead of it. We're going to trade you. And then, but, we're going to trade you wherever you want to go. And the team puts out a statement saying it was our call. That's one thing.
Right.
But Jim, you and I have both been around this business. When did the team ever put out a statement like that? They don't. So
not even the Rangers. Ooh,
right.
I had to do it. Sorry.
Yeah, they're not going to put out a statement like that.
No, you can't.
So
you can't do that.
He's not going to force his way out because he's not going to want to turn the Edmonton fans against him. He's going to play the 2 years out on his deal, and then he'll be a free agent at 31.
Yeah.
And wherever he goes, he'll go. I think Matthews, there's a greater chance of him staying. Because if Toronto turns things around this year, like, there's a greater chance that he's willing to put down. Now, I don't think he signed a 7-year deal because that.
No, I don't. That's not who he is. But that's not what Matthews has done. He went 5. He went 4. Like he's not committing 7 years. Like he's going to maximize his value no matter what. That's what he's going to do. But the Matthews thing is interesting because like it's been since day one, since like he was up for after entry level. Oh, he signed his 5-year deal. Well, he's leaving. Oh, but he signed a 4-year deal. Well, he's committed 12. He's going to commit 12 years to the franchise that drafted him number 1 overall. And that's really good. He wants to win there. That's great. Look, I was listening to what you were saying, and a lot of people, like the way you listen to things and, you hear things throughout. if I was a player in Toronto too, I'd be confused because you have Keith Pelly saying one thing, you have the new general manager saying another thing. You got Matt Sundin there. Like the press conference to me would leave with a player with more questions than answers. And I think, yeah, I agree with you to a point that Matthews probably has a lot of questions that he's going to have to figure out with, Chaika and Sundin and Pelly and everybody because look, this team, Toronto has a ton of holes to fill. Third line center, another top six forward, defense. What's their goaltending going to look like?
Well, they're going to get another top six forward when they draft.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, and they have, as we've said, it always comes back around to Toronto. Draft lottery rigged? I don't know. Like, I know we got to touch on Edmonton, but you said Gavin McKenna number one. Might as well bring it in here. Draft lottery. They win it last Tuesday. Maple Leafs number one overall pick. San Jose Sharks number two overall pick. Vancouver drops. It's like, hey, wait a minute. The hockey world's rigged for Toronto. What's this about? Because it's 10 years. 10 years ago, they drafted Auston Matthews number one overall and won the lottery.
Right. But the difference being they were a bad team before they drafted Matthews.
Right.
And I know they had a bad season this year.
Right.
They've been a pretty damn good team for the better part of a decade now.
Right. Exactly.
Little bit different in situation. And yes, Toronto, the most valuable NHL franchise. Toronto, the league has an office up in Toronto. Everyone can say the different things of, how did Toronto manage to move up? Because the league wants or needs Toronto to be good. Everyone can say the conspiracy theories all they want. The honest truth is, there's no conspiracy theory against it. Yes, I know people claim, they cut away from, on the broadcast, they cut away from the balls. And first of all, it wasn't even live. Okay? So everyone's saying, they cut away from putting the balls in the thing. It's not live. They do the recording beforehand. They do the recording, I think it's like an hour or two before they actually air it.
So supposedly this one was live. Like it wasn't in a room anymore and all that stuff. So I mean, yeah. Cue the conspiracy theories, but it's good for the Maple Leafs because they need a player of this ilk, like a Gavin McKenna.
And hold on, you want to talk conspiracy theories? Another original six team, second most valuable team in the NHL, in the heart of New York City, the New York Rangers.
Yeah.
What are they? A mile, not even, away from the league office? The league, the world's most famous arena. The league absolutely wants them to be a good team because when the Rangers are good, the league does well profitability wise.
Yeah.
The Rangers should have, by odds, had the number 2 pick.
Easily.
They fell all the way to the number 5. You want to talk about clearly there's no conspiracy theory going on.
No,
because otherwise Rangers would have won the number 1 or they would have stuck at number 2.
Right, exactly. So, and look, I think this is kind of getting overblown about where they should go. I think Toronto should draft Gavin McKenna. I think they need a player like that. They need an entry-level, top 6 forward, playmaker on the wing. I believe that. Like, I know Chase Reed's out there, Verhoff, Stenberg, like all that stuff. They're set down the middle. Like, they really are. They can get a third-line center in free agency. I get it. You can never have enough centers. Matthews needs a playmaker winger. Like, that's what he needs right now on that top line because they really only have a top 3. They don't have a top 6. Like, they really don't. Maybe a top 4 if you really want to push the limits. Maybe a top 4. But they need that. Like, and it's going to be overblown by the Toronto media. Oh, this guy. We saw what Matthew Schaefer did. Don't overthink it. It's Gavin McKenna, and it's not close.
Yeah, no, it really isn't. And I will say, since you brought up Matthew Schaefer, first of all, 2 things about the kid. One,
Kid's awesome.
The announcement with the Islanders, with the, everything that he's putting together now with the Cancer Society and everything in name and memory of his mother. Just absolute applause for the kid doing that, not waiting till he's like 24, 25 years old and establishing his career just right off the bat. Love that for him. And 2, not to say that there won't be great players who are drafted number 1, because great players generally are drafted number 1. But how do you, whether it's McKenna this year or whoever the following year, you've got to now be judged by the fact that Matthew Schaefer, as a defenseman, just had the type of rookie year that he had. The amount of unfair pressure that he just put on every number one pick to come after him, especially if they're a defenseman. I mean, if they're a winger or center, whatever, it's one thing. But what he just did to every number one pick to come for the next at least 5 years, it might be the most unfair thing any number one pick's ever done.
Absolutely, 100%. Like, Schaefer was unbelievable this year for the Islanders, and everybody knows it. And look, I think he's definitely going to win a Calder Trophy going away. I mean, I would be shocked if it was a close race. I would be shocked. To be honest, I would be shocked.
I'll be very shocked.
Yeah, I would be
I'll eat the mug that we use for our not just in sponsor break.
There it is.
I'll eat the mug if it's a close race.
All right, that's fair. All right. So Toronto, they need a lot of help, right? And we talk about Matthews, the future uncertainty. You said McDavid's leaning in a certain way potentially. We know what Leon Draisaitl said. He's like, yeah, we got 2 years with this guy. God knows after that. We don't know. Both guys have called the team average. Both team said the team went backwards. Not very good. Not good looks. But Draisaitl's been open and honest all year, saying coaching staff has to be better, players have to be better, goaltenders have to be better. McDavid feels the same way. You could absolutely point the blame at Stan Bowman. You could point the blame at Jeff Jackson, Ken Holland, who was previously there, all the trades that were made. This team is just not as good as it was. It took a step back this year, and they got to figure it out quick because they don't have a lot of cap space, nor do they have a lot of assets. Oh, by the way, that's exactly like the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's not exactly like it because Edmonton doesn't have the number one pick.
No.
So, yeah, look, Edmonton is I don't want to call them a dumpster fire at the moment, but it's not looking pretty for the Edmonton Oilers, and that's a problem when they're on the clock because, look, if they go out and have a great off season and they somehow get back to the Cup final next year and win the Cup, you could envision a future in which McDavid maybe signs, let's say, like another short-term 2-year deal, sticks it out to see, how many more cups they can win, build on top of it type of thing. But if they don't win a cup next year, bye-bye.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and I don't understand why people thought they were going to win the cup this year. Did they not look at the roster and how poor they played defensively?
They've been to the cup final the last 2 years in a row before. Things happen, right?
Right, but the team wasn't as good. Like, I was just scratching my head.
Last year wasn't as good as it was the year before.
No, and they somehow got to the Western Conference Final again, and then Stuart Skinner again. Because wait, what have we been hearing all week and all day and throughout the last 8 years in there with these guys? They play team defense, which allowed Stuart Skinner to just be good enough to get them to the Stanley Cup Final. They were a goal away in 2024 from winning. So anybody who says they're not close to winning, I guess didn't watch that series because it's clear they were close enough. They just didn't do it. But this team has a lot of holes to fill. They don't have the money. They don't have the assets. I don't know where they're getting the prospects from. And they continually have questions in goal. They've been having questions in goal for like 20 years now, so it doesn't really matter. But if you think one goalie is going to come in there and solve all the problems for the Edmonton Oilers, forget it. Leon Draisaitl called himself out saying he has to be better defensively. They need a new coach, new system, new structure. But it all comes down to, why is Florida good? Why is this team good? That team good? Seeing in New Jersey a little bit. If the top guys buy into the system and understand how to play, it filters into the rest of the group.
It does. And look, Connor McDavid's become a much better defensive player over the last few
100%. 100%.
He was obviously, we now know, he was playing through a fractured ankle foot injury.
Yeah, man. You knew once it happened in game 2, you knew he was hurt.
Right. So you can't really blame him for a performance. And I mean, the fact that he even still played was amazing. Yeah. But that's hockey players. That's they're different. Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily a buy-in situation. I think they didn't have the horses to do it. They really didn't have the horses to do it, Edmonton. Look at their depth, it was worse. Look at their, look up and down their roster. They didn't have nearly the type of potency that they had in the previous 2 years. And they didn't have the horses to do it. And so they went out in the first round. And now this is a show-me-off season. Do they use that as a wake-up call and get the fire lit under them, or not. What happens? I know we're a hockey podcast, but I'm going to use baseball as an analogy for a minute. 1996, Yankees win the World Series, right? They beat the Atlanta Braves.
Yep.
So 1997, they should have been the favorites.
Should have been.
They didn't even win the division. They get in as a wild card. They go out in the first round
to a very good Cleveland Indians team.
Right, but they go out in the first round, and then they used that offseason as a show-me offseason. It lit a fire under them. They went on to have a record-setting year in 98, won the World Series 98, 99, 2000. Edmonton, this is your show-me offseason.
It better be, because, and I think they all know it, and I think the pressure's there. I think there's probably going to be a coaching change or two or whatever, but they have to get it right, and they got to get everything right. And if they don't, I agree. I think McDavid next offseason is going to be like, sorry, guys, I did my time. I'm out.
Yeah, well,
we're going to find out.
We will see. A lot of interesting things to keep an eye on in the National Hockey League over the next 12, 13 months, roughly.
Absolutely, guys. The perfect way to end it here on the Blue Line Blast podcast. Couple blasts from the Blue Line tonight. Check this out up here on YouTube. But, guys, we appreciate everybody who follows along, likes, comments, all that stuff. I'm Jim Biringer, Matthew Blittner. Guys, we'll be back. Blue Line Blast podcast. Take care.